Welcome to our deep dive, and today it's AI and counseling supervision. Feels like it's everywhere you look these days, right?
Definitely seems to be a hot topic.
Yeah, so you gave us a ton of stuff to go through for this one. Articles, expert opinions, case studies, even some predictions about the future.
Lots to unpack for sure.
So we're going to try to break it all down, give you the need-to-know info without, getting lost in the weeds.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and I gotta say, going through all this, one thing that really jumped out at me was just how much AI is already being used in therapy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's not just like some far-off thing anymore.
Definitely happening now.
Like one of the articles talked about AI being used to help students, build their theoretical frameworks, like a person-centered, CBT, all that, before they even see a client.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I mean, traditionally, that's all about, reading lectures, tons of supervision.
Right.
Imagine if AI could actually help students, apply those models to case studies, give them a more hands-on experience.
Right. It'd be like a virtual supervisor.
Exactly.
Especially helpful for students just starting out,
Definitely.
when it can all feel so overwhelming.
For sure.
I mean, even for experienced therapists. And think about all the time AI could free up.
Oh, absolutely.
Articles mention things like note-taking, scheduling.
Like all that admin stuff.
Ugh, yeah, all the paperwork.
Which would let counselors actually focus on the clients more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, paperwork is a huge part of the job, right? It can be so draining.
Absolutely.
So if AI could take some of that on, therapists could actually, use that energy to connect with their clients.
Exactly. And that seems to be the key point for a lot of the experts. It's not about replacing therapists. It's about helping them be more effective.
Yeah, yeah.
There's one quote I really liked. It said, AI won't take jobs. People who know how to use AI will take jobs.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, it really shows how important it is to be open to these new technologies.
Definitely got to stay ahead of the curve.
For sure. And this goes beyond just individual therapy, too. One of the papers you gave me talked about AI in supervision.
Oh, right.
And it was pretty amazing. Like, imagine AI being used to create personalized supervision plans or even offer initial diagnostic help.
Wow.
Yeah, and there was even a study about using AI to analyze transcripts from therapy sessions, looking for patterns and themes.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the idea is that could give supervisors a way deeper understanding of their supervisees' work and then help them identify areas for growth.
That's amazing, especially for new therapists
Right.
still developing those skills.
Exactly.
And the sources even mentioned AI helping to create like screening tools.
Oh, wow.
For different mental health challenges,
Yeah.
like anxiety, trauma, depression, OCD.
Wow, that could be huge for early identification and treatment.
Yeah, absolutely.
But all this makes me wonder, these AI systems are all trained on data, right?
Right.
So how do we know that data is actually representative of diverse populations and that these tools will be culturally sensitive?
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
And one source actually said straight up that AI has a diversity and inclusion problem,
Oh, wow.
which is something we absolutely have to be aware of.
Right, because if the data is biased, the output's going to be biased too.
Exactly.
And that could have serious consequences, especially in mental health,
For sure.
where understanding individual differences is so crucial.
Absolutely.
So the role of culturally competent mental health professionals is going to be critical here. Like, it's not enough to just develop these AI tools. We have to make sure they're being used in a way that's sensitive to everyone's needs.
Definitely.
But one source did suggest that AI could actually help deliver services to underserved communities, maybe even overcoming some of the biases human counselors might have.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's like AI could help bridge that gap in access to care.
Yeah, that is a fascinating idea.
Yeah.
Like, could AI actually make mental health care more equitable? But we got to be careful, not get ahead of ourselves. Still a lot to consider.
For sure.
Definitely a complex situation. And it's a really complex landscape, too.
Yeah.
And one area I thought was really interesting was how AI is being used in research.
Yeah, there were some cool studies in there.
Yeah, you highlighted one that used AI to analyze qualitative data. I thought that was pretty innovative.
Yeah, me too. Qualitative research can be so rich and insightful, but it's also incredibly time-consuming to analyze.
Oh, for sure.
So if AI could help researchers identify those key themes and patterns in large data sets, that would be a huge step forward.
Absolutely. It would be like giving researchers a superpower.
Right.
They can analyze data from, hundreds or even thousands of interviews in a fraction of the time.
Wow.
Which opens up so many possibilities. for understanding, complex phenomena,
Yeah.
like the lived experiences of people with specific mental health conditions.
Yeah, and it makes me think about the applications beyond just research, like in clinical practice.
Yeah,
Could you use AI to tailor treatment plans based on like real-time analysis of client language or behavior?
that's getting pretty futuristic.
Yeah.
But the potential is definitely there. And it's not all just speculation either. The sources you shared pointed to some real concrete examples of how AI is being used now. We talked about supervision and training,
Right.
but there are also applications in things like pre-etics, creating personalized treatment plans, or even delivering basic mental health support through chatbots.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of chatbots, one of the articles mentioned that some people actually find them less judgmental than human therapists.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is. It shows that there are some advantages to interacting with AI, at least in certain contexts,
Yeah.
like for some people, the anonymity
Mm-hmm.
and the lack of perceived judgment
Mm-hmm.
might make it easier to open up and share their feelings.
Yeah, I can see that.
Of course, it's not a replacement for human connection,
Right.
but it could be a valuable tool for reaching people who might not otherwise seek help.
Absolutely. It also makes me think about the potential for AI to help reduce the stigma around mental health.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If people feel more comfortable talking to a chatbot about their struggles, it could be that first step towards seeking more traditional support.
Exactly. It's like a way to expand access to mental health care,
Hmm.
especially for those who might face barriers like cost or location or even just fear of judgment.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect solution, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
I'm glad we're talking about the positive aspects because sometimes the conversation around AI gets a bit too focused on the risks.
I agree. It's important to be aware of the potential challenges,
Of course.
but we also have to acknowledge the incredible opportunities.
Right.
If we approach this technology thoughtfully and ethically, it has the potential to revolutionize mental health care.
Absolutely. And that's where the human element comes in, right?
Yeah.
Making sure that AI is always used to complement and enhance human connection, not replace it.
Exactly. And one thing that struck me from the sources was the emphasis on collaboration between humans and AI. It's not about one or the other. It's about finding that balance and using these tools to serve the best interests of our clients.
Yeah, finding that balance. I like that. It's not about blindly embracing every new technology, but it's also not about rejecting innovation out of fear. It's about being informed, being thoughtful, and being intentional about how we use these tools to improve mental health care.
Well said. And I think that leads perfectly into another important point from the sources,
Yeah.
the importance of responsible development and implementation of AI in mental health.
Yeah, there were definitely some strong warnings in there about the potential for harm if we're not careful.
For sure.
One expert even used the phrase race to the bottom of the brainstem to describe how things could go wrong
Wow.
if we don't prioritize safety and ethics.
That's a pretty powerful image.
Yeah,
But it really highlights the need for vigilance.
right.
We need to be constantly asking ourselves, are these tools being developed and used ethically? Are we protecting client privacy and confidentiality? Are we mindful of the potential for bias and unintended consequences?
It's a lot to consider,
It is.
but it's crucial that we don't shy away from these tough questions.
Absolutely.
We have a responsibility to ensure that AI is used to benefit everyone, not just a select few.
Yeah, it really is a huge responsibility and one that we can't take lightly. As we've been going through all this, the thing that keeps coming back to me is that idea of AI analyzing therapy transcripts, finding those hidden patterns and themes.
It is pretty amazing, isn't it? I mean, even the best therapist can miss things sometimes, in the middle of a session.
Right.
But imagine having AI that could analyze every word, every inflection, even every pause,
Wow.
and then point out those underlying dynamics. That might be driving the client's behavior.
It would be like having an extra set of eyes and ears in the room,
Huh,
but ones that can process information way faster than any human.
exactly.
And it makes me wonder, if we can do that now, what's next? Could AI eventually predict therapeutic outcomes or even help us personalize treatments even more precisely?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's definitely got researchers excited.
Yeah.
The potential is huge. But we got to be careful about the ethical side of things.
Right.
We can't rely on AI to make all the decisions.
Of course not.
It's still early days, but the possibilities are pretty mind-blowing.
It feels like we're on the verge of a major shift in mental health care. And I think as we move forward, it's going to be more important than ever for therapists to stay informed,
Absolutely.
be open to these new ideas, and really engage in the conversation about the ethical implications.
Couldn't agree more. This landscape is changing so quickly. It's up to us to make sure we're using these tools responsibly
Exactly.
to benefit our clients and the whole profession.
For sure.
We have to keep asking the tough questions, challenge our assumptions, and collaborate to harness the power of AI while still protecting those human values that are at the heart of what we do.
So to sum it all up, what's the takeaway from our deep dive into AI in counseling and supervision?
Well, it's pretty clear AI is here to stay, and it has the power to really change the field.
Yeah, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a magic solution. It's a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
That's a great point.
It all comes down to us, making sure it's used ethically and responsibly to truly make people's lives better.
I think that's a perfect place to leave it. So what do you think? What resonated with you from all this? What questions are you still thinking about? This deep dive has been a journey, but the exploration doesn't stop here. Keep asking those questions, stay curious, and let's keep shaping the future of mental health care together. Thanks for joining us.